is that it's not if something is going to happen,
When?
it is when something is going to happen. And to what extreme, right? So one way or the other, you need to be prepared for something happening.
Yeah. Now, I mentioned the dark web earlier. So everybody wants to know, I get asked all the time, well, have you actually been on the dark web? Have you seen the dark web? What does it look like? Well, it's not like I can just, take an Uber to the dark web. It's and I personally have never been on it, nor do I want to. But I work with many white hat hacker government cyber terrorist analysts that are on the dark web all the time, and they share images with me. But just for your knowledge as to what it is, there's the part of the web that we see, that we interact with every day, is called the surface web, and it's really only about 10% of what the actual World Wide Web is. And this is a great image. So the search sites, Google, Bing, Yahoo, take your pick. Those are search engines that search on indexed and cookied IP address, right? So anything that's not indexed or cookied, which is about 90% of the rest of the World Wide Web, that makes up both the deep web and the dark web. So the deep web is, a lot of it is the unindexed, right? So it's medical journals, it's research journals. It's not necessarily evil stuff, or criminal, I should say. But the dark web is where it's the completely anonymous. You have to know the IP address. That is not like a normal, businessname.com, right? So it's a randomized, completely unintelligible series of letters and numbers and symbols, all strung together, .onion, right? So you literally have to know how to get there. But once you do, it's completely anonymous. You can't just Google
it, huh?
No, you can't just Google it. You can't just Google it. But so it's there and it's real, right? So if you look at this image, this is a great way to visualize it. It's an iceberg, right? So what we deal with every day is the tip of the iceberg. The rest of it, the biggest part, is what's going to sink the Titanic if we let it.
Right.
Yeah. So
how does the data get onto the dark web?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's several different ways. So phishing is a very common way, and what that is it's where you as an individual get sent an email from someone that you recognize, someone that you know, or a business that you know, but it's not. It's been faked, right? So they call it a confidence scam. Malvertising is just really, it's placing a malicious payload on a legitimate website, hiding it in maybe like an ad. Watering holes are those really malicious, they're called bad websites, the unsecure websites. And those, oftentimes, those are recreated websites that are made to look like homework help sites or kind of religious sites. It's unfortunate, but criminals play on our vulnerabilities, our sensitivities, right? So kids, religion, all that stuff, a lot of times they're bad websites, and just going on them is going to give you a virus. And then web attacks. So there's something called a brute force attack, and what that is criminals are like just constantly hitting a website, trying to find any vulnerabilities, right? Any way that they can get in to access your network through your website. So all of these things, it sounds really scary, but really at the end of the day, it's we are our own worst enemy, and humans kind of are the weakest link, and the best way to combat all of this is just education and being smarter and sharing this information and knowing what to look for, right? And there's lots of ways that we, as the good guys, can share information to educate the rest of us on what to look for and how to spot